YouTube, new box is here. We got windups, we got Girja, we got Heraldic Beast, we got generic Exceeds. Let's go.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Let's start off with this new mini box review. The question of the day for many of these decks will be, what do we do versus Sun Saga? Why am I picking out Sun Saga? Well, Sun Saga is a really popular card on the ladder. I think it is fair to ask this question because people don't like relying on having to use Karma Cut or Kanadi to flip it down. Ideally, inherently, your deck can deal with this, and I feel most of the top tier decks inherently, they do deal with this, and that's why they're on the tier list. Now, if nothing deals with Sun Saga, is there no hope? Well, we have hope, but it's future hope. Honor Arc and Castel, they're not broken, they're not crazy too good, but they would deal with a card like Sun Saga. We will get them soon. We are not getting them right now. And every deck that could Exceed Summon would be able to use these to deal with a card like Sun Saga. So just keep that in mind with any of these new cards, that even if they're not going to be top tier now or even be used competitively now, we will definitely, at minimum, revisit all of the Exceed decks when cards like Honor Arc and Castel come out. So just giving that warning right now before you potentially get frustrated with any deck. Now, my initial reaction, just in bed, looking at my phone, oh my Jesus, windups were top tier, hit by the ban list. Girja was also top tier with these cards. Girja Gear was top tier. Girja with Karakuri was top tier. Great generic Exceeds used in top tier decks. Now, does that mean that this box is top tier? No, Duel Links is a different game. And just please understand that. Some people are thinking that they got baited with Infernity or something because I didn't have this message. I don't think that this message should even be required. I'm saying that these cards used to be top tier, so please understand that. The only one baiting and getting baited is yourself. Don't bait yourself. I'm telling you facts to facts that these used to be top tier. Now, my experience with a lot of these cards are I topped multiple regionals with windups with multiple different ban list formats. They used to hand loop banish, I should say discard their entire hand. They took that away, then we had to change up our strategy. I still played it, and I played 3 Shark, 3 Magician in pretty much every version until they limited Magician. I've topped at least one event with the Girja Karakuri cards that we're getting right now. I played 3 Girja Gear when I was playing it. I played 3 of the Exceed. So I do have some pretty good experience with these cards. And I don't really know much about Heraldic Beast. Now going into the review, we're going to talk about Heraldic Beast. This is a quick little overview picture of all of the new cards we are getting. A lot of them. This is pretty much all of them. And these are the only cards that are super rare or ultra rare, so a good little quick view of how expensive the deck will be. And I could quickly say I think that you will be playing 3 of each of these super rare cards. And the deck used to, I guess, have a few tops and random regionals from a few people and didn't really take off too much in the TCG back in 2014. Now, possible support cards include Dust Knight. You could, on flip, send an Earth monster from your deck to the graveyard. That will trigger some effects. I'm taking off the Powerful Rebirth because I don't think it's going to be that good. But I do think what actually might be good is going to be a Super Team Buddy Force Unite. So I will add that to the list of support cards, because I did feel like we were running out of juice quite early into going in with the combos with these cards. Now here's a concept list from Assault Mode, generic list, but I think this will be strong is what he says. So we basically reviewed and looked at it based on that. We have the main beast card, Leo. If sent to the graveyard in any way, add another Heraldic Beast from the deck to the hand. And if you normal summon it, during the end phase, it will destroy itself. Rarely will you do this. You're basically just going to be sending it to the grave in some way to add from the deck. Then we have the most nutty card of this deck. This is a normal spell. It is searchable, so you basically are playing 6 copies of it. That's how consistent it will be. You'll tribute any monster to special summon 2 beasts from your deck. Then you're going to Exceed with them. Now, it will restrict you to only Psychic/Machine from the extra deck when using this. And then we have Aber. You need 2 of these in the graveyard, so you could banish another copy of itself to then add a Heraldic Beast from the graveyard back to the hand. So you'll be adding the Leo from the graveyard back to the hand. And then we have the Amphis Bana. This can discard a Heraldic from the hand to special summon from the hand. So what's really good is this plus the Leo. You discard the Leo to special summon the Amph. Then Leo will search for a beast that you could normal summon. Then you could rank 4 Exceed into anything. That's great. Now on the field, you could just discard a Heraldic to become 2500 attack, also triggering the effect of the Leo or getting another Aber in the graveyard. Then we have Unicorn. Unicorn could banish itself from the grave to special summon a Heraldry Exceed from the grave, but its effects will be negated. It will just be a beat stick on the field. And also, it will actually work well with an Exceed we're talking about very shortly. Now, the field spell is what allows us to search for any Heraldry spell or trap. So this is why I said we're basically playing 6 copies of that other card that summons 2 monsters from the deck. Because this field spell says you will discard a Heraldic Beast to search for any spell or trap that is a Heraldry. Also, your Heraldry Exceeds cannot be targeted by spell and trap cards. So what does that mean? That means you will not be targeted by Karma, Fiendish, Lance, all of these cards you see, but it will not protect you from a popular card like Floodgate Trap Hole or any monster effects that target. Now, it will, after using the effect, restrict you to only being able to summon Heraldic/Dree cards that turn, and this is the main card you'll be searching when you discard a Heraldic. And then we are going on to my basic deck philosophy is basically, if you could search, then it's totally cool to play 1-ofs. Mostly I like playing 3-ofs for consistency, but if you have a way to search or special summon from the deck, it's okay to play 1-ofs. Because the field spell could search for a spell or trap, these are cards to consider at 1, maybe more if you like it. This will special summon 2 Heralds from the graveyard, then immediately Exceed with them. A great card to search. Probably will not play 3. Maybe it will be dead very early into it. This will just summon 1 Heraldic Beast from the graveyard. You'll then have to have another on the field or just normal summon to Exceed with it. This could be a good card to search at the start of the duel. You discard to search with the field spell, or you open up this, you set it, they attack, you end the battle phase if you summon a Heraldic Beast from your hand. So you need a Heraldic Beast in your hand to summon to end the battle phase. Then this is not really tied in with the Heraldic deck itself, but it will negate and destroy an opponent's Exceed if they activate an effect. So that's just anti-Exceed if that Exceed ever becomes top tier and it's searchable. So be ready for that. That gives it super future potential. When Exceed ever becomes top tier, you'll play Heralds to search this card and negate. And then here was the Exceed deck he was using. Let's talk about the Exceeds. The Heraldry Patriarch can be summoned by any deck with level 4s in it. It does not require Heraldics to make. And basically what it says is it does not allow more than 1 monster of the same name to be on the field. What does that mean? Well, we know decks like Cyber Dragon, all their monsters are Cyber Dragon while on the field. That will prevent it. And then we got Blue Eyes, we got Dark Magician. Sometimes even the Illusion Dark Magic is a Dark Magician on the field. And the quick play effect is if they have multiple monsters of the same name, you could quick play destroy all other copies of that monster. So you will target 1 Cyber Dragon, then destroy all the other copies. And what's great in a Heraldic deck is if it's sent to the graveyard, you could send 2 Heraldic Beasts from the deck to the graveyard. That will trigger the Leo. The Unicorn could resummon this on the field. Then if it's sent to the grave again, it will send 2 Heraldics from the deck to the graveyard again. That could be pretty cool. And then we have this. This requires 2 Heraldic Beast monsters. And what it does is it's anti-Exceed. It will negate, reduce to 0, and steal the opponent's Exceed's effect and their attack until the end phase. So this is a hardcore anti-Exceed deck, further pushing its future potential for any top tier potential future decks that require more than 1 monster of the same name on the field or that Exceed summons. This will counter those decks. Pretty insane. This requires 3 level 4 monsters on special summon. It will negate all other Exceeds, and then it could steal another Exceed's effect. Now there's some cool combos where this can steal the effect of your Patriarch, then Patriarch, giving it the effect to destroy monsters of the same name. You will destroy the Patriarch after stealing its effect, then triggering its effect to send 2 Heraldic Beasts from the deck to the graveyard. Just a combo to consider. It's crazy. Now, my thoughts after testing, which you will see some quick replay, duel footage of, maybe just one duel, is remember, the field spell and the charged up, these will restrict you from summoning any non-heraldry monster exceeds, unless you're using the charged up, which is more specific to just Psychic and Machine. So do pay attention that these will restrict your extra deck. Consistently, we're going to summon the Patriarch. It's going to be consistent. We will have this on the field. We have 3 main ways of summoning this. Either the field spell or the spell, so that's 6 cards, and then the Leo and the Amph combo is another way. So this will be on the field. And then it will easily be able to resummon itself with the Unicorn. You could send the Unicorn from the deck to the grave. The deck to the grave is going to be giving a lot of different plays, as you could add cards from the graveyard back to the hand or summon this back on the field. Possibly you'll have a Rank 4 Exceed follow-up. And you will just very quickly run out of monsters as you're sending them all from the deck to the graveyard very quickly. You're searching and sending. So this is a problem. Maybe you want to play Super Team Buddy Force or play Jar of Avarice to return the cards back on the deck maybe. And this is the combo we talked about earlier. Rank 4 Exceed into anything. And here we go. Boom. We got Special Summon 2 from the deck. We got Discard a Search. So we could just play the field spell, and we want to use the Tribute to Search, so let's summon a monster, and let's tribute it. Let's activate the charged up Heraldry, tribute off the Leo. We're going to summon 2 from the deck. We'll summon an Aber, and we could summon a Unicorn. That's fine. And now we cannot exceed into anything that's not a Heraldry. We're going to exceed Shokan into our Patriarch. Very good. Now I could use the field spell to discard the Aber, and the Aber will be searching for... We could search for the special summon card if we want to. We could grab the card that double special summons. Advanced Heraldry Art. Leo search. Okay, Leo will search for this, right? Remember this. So we could either search for this card to special summon from the grave, or we could instead... Let's search the trap. So we search the trap. When the opponent declares an attack, we could special summon this. So now we have the trap, and our opponent declares an attack. We can activate this to summon a Heraldic Beast and end the battle phase. Otherwise, let's say something happens to the Patriarch that gets Cosmic Cycloned. We know it's going to get Cosmic Cycloned. Otherwise, it would have ended the battle phase on an attack. And then they take out our Patriarch. So what's going to happen when the Patriarch gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard? We're going to activate its effect to send 2 Heraldic Beasts from the deck to the graveyard. So we could send a Leo, and we could send the Aber. Now Leo will activate, and we'll add an Amphis. Very good. Now it's our turn. We'll draw. Ooh, we got a Reborn. So now we could activate the effect of Aber to banish another Aber to add the Leo from the graveyard to the hand. We could activate the effect of Unicorn to banish itself to special summon the Heraldic in the graveyard, the Patriarch. We could use Heraldry to discard the Leo to search for the Heraldry Art. I'm thinking we might want to play more of this, maybe. More than 1, possibly, maybe 2. Then we could activate this to special summon 2 from the graveyard. We'll summon this, and then we could exceed right away into this. And then we have the Amphis Bana, which could discard a card to boost it up to 2,500 attack. And that's basically what this deck could do. The big problem is the field spell restricting you from summoning an exceed that will possibly deal with the bigger monster. That is a big, big problem. Inherently, what are we going to do against the Sun Saga? Unfortunately, we're going to rely on a card like Karma Cut until we get a rank 4 exceed like Honor Arc or Castel, which we talked about earlier. That is unfortunate. So you want your Karma Cut or your Fiendish Chains to lock up and stop the Sun Saga. Girja review. Now I type the word Girja on the Duel Links Meta website. Anything you like, you could use the search. On any part of the website, you click on the magnifying glass. You could filter by not released. You could even filter by released. And if we filter by not released and we type in Girja, We have everything. This is using the database of the TCG, OCG, every card that's not in Duel Links and in Duel Links. We got them all. And having them all means we have 13 cards. We got them, we got them. So when you ask me, is there going to be future support for this specifically? No, this is it. But generic Rank 4 Exceeds will further support the deck. Let's talk about what this deck could do. Here are all the new cards. We got 5 of them. A Monster Spell, Trap, 2 Exceeds. Now, which of them are expensive? The Gear Gigant X and the Gears of Gear, they are going to be Super and Ultra. Now, in the TCG, I definitely play 3 Gear Gigant X because I got room to. But in Duel Links, maybe 2. Maybe still even play 3. Now, Gears of Gear is going to bring up more deck building philosophy. It is okay for a card to be dead if it greatly increases your early game consistency. What does that mean? Well, if you play 3 of a card that summons 2 monsters from your deck, which is exactly what this does, it's okay to not play 6 summonable monsters, because if you play 3, you would need 6 monsters to make sure it's not dead. It's okay that potentially after just using it once, that the other copies will just be dead. A great example of this philosophy, which was used in top tier decks, was Treacherous Trap Hole. People would play 3 of this card. After the first Treacherous, the other 2 are dead. But are you even going to get to the point where you're using the other 2 Treacherous? You probably have won the duel just from activating the first one. So that is the idea of don't think that you're going to need to play 6 or more Gearjanos to play Gears of Gear. All right? Now, Cheesy topped a YCS about 6 years ago. And based off of topping, he built a deck similar to what his deck looked like 6 years ago. Very nice. But there are a lot of Gears of cards that we have in Duel Links that did not exist back then. We'll talk about that. Now, Gear Gigant X, even though it is a Gears of card, it can be used in any machine deck. It's 2 level 4 machines you detach to search for a level 4 or lower machine. So this will be as good as what you could search as they continually add new level 4 or lower machines. So let's talk about easy ways to summon. Easily, you'll summon it with the Gearja Accelerator. We'll talk about that later. Basically, you just special summon it. If you control another Gearja, you make it right away. And then Gearja Gear. This will instantly, you activate it, summon 2 Gearjanos from the deck, and then you can make it. Now, a deck that would probably want to make this would be Cyber Dragon, Veer plus Veer, Exceed, and then search for Core, which you will be searching for and using next turn. So that could be really good in Cyber Dragons. Now, what are good cards for Gear Gigant X to search for right now? These are the most popular level 1, 2, 3, or 4 machines. So you could look at this. Yeah, Kiteroid should stick out right there. Kiteroid, that's a big one. Maybe Jet Synchron. Yeah. Likely the best search will be Kiteroid if you're not playing it in a Gearja deck. And Trumpeteer could even be good if you decide to play no spell or traps. If you have no spell or traps, you search this, you could special summon it and make some plays. Now in the TCG, a big card it searched for that we don't have, but look out for it in the future, was the Birdman. Birdman was a level 3 tuner. You could return a machine or just return a monster to special summon, and this allowed you to play Car Curry with Gearja. So without this, we're not really going to play Gearja with the deck. I don't think so. Now, the main card we'll search for in the Gearja only variant will be, you'll be searching for a Gearja Accelerator to extend your combos. And that's basically that. Now let's move on. Gearja Gear. You special summon 2 level 3 Gearjas from your deck, then it makes them level 4 to then make a rank 4 Exceed. It's so good that this card was limited to 1. Is it going to be so good in Duel Links because of that? I don't know. I'm not saying it's so good right now. I'm just saying it was so good. I'm just giving you some of the history, some context for the card. I'm not trying to overhype or anything. Now, very easily, the card will become dead if not drawn in your opening hand. You don't draw this in your opening hand, it's probably dead. Now, here are some ideas to make it not dead, because your Gearjanos need to be in the deck for it to not be dead. So you could play Labyrinth Builder to return them back in the deck. You could restart them back in the deck. You could play Balance to decrease the chance of drawing too many of them. And that could be a good idea. Now let's talk about the Gearjanos themselves. Even though they're not new, but you're going to use them as if they are new. When this is summoned, you could special summon a Girja from your hand or graveyard. You could summon a level 3, then make an instant rank 3 Exceed. Or you could just resummon a level 4 Girja. Now, Girjano is going to attribute itself to summon a level 4 or lower, or it has to be level 4 actually, machine from the graveyard, but its effects are negated. So you could summon and then use with an Accelerator to make a rank 4 Exceed. We'll talk about Accelerator right here. That's the one that we'd be using a lot of. Now we have Girja Armor. It can flip itself face down. So basically, every turn you will be flipping up, flipping down. When it flips up, it searches for a Girja. So quick combo. You flip, you search the Accelerator, you special the Accelerator, you rank 4 Exceed. It's that simple. Now we have the Accelerator. The main effect is special summon when you control a Girja, and that's all you really need to know. It will rank 4 Exceed. Now Arsenal will tribute itself to special summon a Girja from the deck, which can consistently ensure you have an armor on the field. So you will summon the Arsenal, tribute, summon the armor flip down, and then you are going to pop off next turn. So in the TCG, you would do that, set a ton of back row, then your opponent is panicking. They know that if they don't deal with the armor, you're going to flip it up, you're going to mass Exceed, synchro, combo, you're going to win next turn. Is it going to work like that in Duel Links? I don't know. I'm just telling you how it was used in the TCG. Now, Girjogger. This was not available when I played the deck. This is new, but it's so good. It's kind of like the armor, because the armor on flip is going to search for the Accelerator, but the Girjogger does not need a flip. It will just on summon search for the Girja Accelerator. But it does come with restrictions. You cannot attack nor special summon non-machine type monsters for the rest of the turn. But we're making the Gear Gigan X. We're making machines anyway. Only probably with these combos. So do consider that over the armor. I did like this more than armor in my testing. Now, yeah, it's a 1-card Exceed. So boom. And a card we'll probably not be using is a 3 level 3 monsters to make this. It will negate an opponent's face-up card, and they cannot activate cards during an attack of a machine if you detach. It will negate all their face-up cards. So what you'll do is you'll summon MK2 to special summon MK3, which will then special summon another level 3 to then make it probably not going to use this in a top tier version or the most competitive version. Now, thoughts on playtesting. After we playtested, we were very easily summoning the Gear Gigan X, which would detach and set up for another turn of summoning, could search for the Girjogger, which could be summoned next turn to make another Gear Gigan X. And you really need to draw your Girjogger early. The Girjogger being a 1-card Exceed was great, but only for machine. And watch the highlight. Summon, activate, search for the Accelerator, add the Accelerator. Now we are restricted to machine-type monsters. We're going to special summon Accelerator. Then we're going to Exceed into our Gear Gigan X. Gear Gigan X is going to detach to search our deck for a machine. Now I would probably search for a Girjogger. I probably would have just searched for that, but we already have one. So I'm going to instead search for an armor, or I could search for the MK2. MK2 is going to special summon a Girja from your hand or graveyard. Now, this is a risky search because we really have to use the Girja gear with at least 2 Girjanos on the deck. But I feel like we could risk it. Let's grab the Girjano. Let's set, and let's set the Lance. It's our opponent's turn, and we end up using the Lance somehow, and maybe we lose our Gear Gigan X. It's gone. He's dead. So in the end phase, we're going to flip up the Girja gear. Girja gear activates special summon 2 Girjanos from the deck and increase their levels by 1. So let's summon the 3, and let's summon the 3. Now, at this moment, the other Girja gears, they're dead. Is that a flaw with the deck builds? No, this is how the TCG played it. After resolving 1 Girja gear, the second and third would likely be dead. You would maybe have one more use. If not, they would both be dead. So that's it for that. They're both level 4. They got +1 level. Let's draw for our turn. We drew a Cosmic. We're going to banish their back row card, obviously. -1000, Keck W. And then we're going to Exceed into a rank 4 again. Now, we could summon anything. Anything. Gear Gigan X, maybe. And we use the Gear Gigan X to detach a material, to search our deck for, we can grab an Accelerator. So without using the effect of the Gear Jogger, we could summon, not activate the effect special, then make a rank 4 Exceed into anything. We could make Black Corn, we could make Diamond Wolf, or we could instead, we could put this back to the hand. We could normal summon the MK2, activate, special summon a level 3 from the graveyard, and then we could Exceed into Zenmaines. So we had a rank 4 or a rank 3. So Zenmain says if this face-up card in the field would be destroyed, you could detach a material instead of being destroyed, and if you protected itself from destruction, you destroy a card in the end phase. So if you summon this in attack, you will detach a material to protect itself, and then you will activate in the end phase to destroy a card in the field. Otherwise, you just sit in defense with it, and that's basically what this deck does. Again, question of the day. Now, I'm not trying to demotivate you or demoralize you with this question of the day. I think it's a valid question, so don't get upset with this. Don't let this make this be a big downer. Don't think that, oh, you can't deal with Sun Saga, then the deck is trash. Well, unfortunately, Sun Saga is quite popular right now, and you are not going to have an inherent out to the Sun Saga. You're going to have to lean on some back row, some Karma Cut, maybe Wall of D or Fiendish Chain. You can look at your ways and outs to the Sun Saga. All right? Now, Wind Up Review. I've topped many tourneys with Wind Ups pre and post ban for Hunter. If you don't know what that is, it was a card that allowed you to loop on the first turn, discard a ton of cards from your opponent's hand. Doesn't that sound fun? It's not fun for either player involved. That's not cool. Konami has done a good job with Duel Links of not giving us decks that discard from your opponent's hand. So thank you, Konami. So I just saying that I've played multiple different versions of the deck, and I'm ready to play another version of the deck in Duel Links. Let's see it. It was top tier in the TCG. The banlist history. Magician was so good it was limited to 1. Shark was so good it was limited to 1 in the OCG. They had different ban lists. And I've been told that this is currently banned right now. This Exceed is so good right now. In regular Yu-Gi-Oh, it's banned. New wind-up cards that we are receiving, quite a few of them. Look at that. And which among these are going to be the expensive cards? It's going to be the Shark and the wind-up Magician. And as you could see right there, yes, that is a Keck Invoker because Wind-Up Shark is a water, Magician is a fire. So it looks like potentially we don't really have a win condition Exceed because you'll be using Invoker. Possibly. That's gonna be the way. Maybe Exceed Invoker is here. Let's talk about the deck. Wind-Up Shark. When a wind-up is summoned, you special summon the Shark. And then once per turn, you could change its level to be a 3 or a 5. So because of Shark, the deck can very easily make a rank 3, 4, or 5. It's consistent. It happens. So the deck is going to be really dependent on the general toolbox of Exceed summoning. So every time a new Exceed comes out, we're going to think, hey, my wind-up deck from a year ago can now make that. That's what's going to happen. And then we have Wind-Up Magician. This says when a wind-up effect is activated, you special summon a wind-up from the deck. So the combo, they work together. You normal the Magician, which you then activate the effect of Shark to special, and that will trigger the effect of Wind-Up Magician to special from the deck. So your current field before the deck summon is a level 4 and a level 4. And a monster from the deck is about to be summoned. So just with this little generic combo, you can rank 3, 4, or 5 Exceed with no restrictions. So the Magician could summon another Shark. Both Sharks will become level 5. It could summon another Shark, and both Sharks can be level 3. Both Sharks can be level 4. You could Exceed with the Magician. That's just an example of what this essentially does. So it's only going to be as good as the generic Exceeds we have, which right now aren't that good yet. Now the 3s, we could summon Zenmaines with the Zenmaity. We're going to talk about the banned Zenmaity soon, not banned in Duel Links. We are getting it though. The 4s that we could summon could be a Direwolf, Black Ship of Corn, we'll talk about that, Patriarch, the Utopia, Deltaros. And the 5s is just going to be a Zenmoa, which on summon will destroy 2 set cards in the fields. Now, I'm just giving you a warning. These are not out. We do not have these. Don't get excited. But my 2 favorite rank 5 exceeds in the TCG, which helped me win games, and we don't have them now, was Tiras and the Armageddon. Basically, Tiras cannot be destroyed by card effects. After attacking, you would destroy any card in the field, and the Armageddon would just destroy a face-up card your opponent controls. It doesn't sound broken at all because they're not broken. So expect these to come out very soon, which will help out windups a lot, because otherwise you're just summoning this. The Banned Exceed that we are getting, it's 2 level 3 monsters. Any level 3 monsters can make this. Very simply, you detach, you summon a windup from the hand or the deck. Now, with only 3 monster zones, it could be quite difficult to make plays with this. You'll see a replay highlight of all the cool ways to summon this and what to do with it in a moment. Now, Windup Rat. This will special summon a windup from the grave. So what you could do is the Zenmaity, detach, summon a rat, rat summon what you detach, then you can make another Zenmaity, but then your field's getting quite clogged. And then we have Windup Rabbit. This will banish any windup until the standby phase, including itself, just 1. And this card you could use in any deck because it's cool. It's going to be used in a lot of different decks, so you're not going to see any other windup card. You'll just see Rabbit and maybe Winda and some other cards, because Rabbit, its effect itself, just being able to banish and come back, it floats, it dodges. It's really good for dealing with a lot of back row if they do not have a monster protecting their back row. Now, a cool card to boost up your Rabbit is going to be Horn of the Phantom Beast. This is not new, but in the TCG, I use this in a generic beatdown Beast Warrior deck. You will boost by 800 attack, and if you destroy a monster by battle, you will draw a card. And when you banish itself and come back, you will lose the equip, but you just make sure to use it when it's going to be beneficial, because you get to draw when you destroy a monster. Now, Windup Factory. Continuous spell. Every time you activate a windup, just once per turn, you will get to search your deck for a windup. So if you are enhancing your current combo, you're going to search for a shark so you can summon the other shark. If you're setting up for next turn, you're searching for a magician. So if you open up Factory, back row, and a rabbit, banish a rabbit, comes back, and you search for a magician. Then on your opponent's turn, rabbit, banish itself again, wind up Factory, again, will search for your shark. Shark and magician with the Factory can be easily set up, but you will need back row to survive all that. Now let's move on. A funny little story, TCG Cheaters story. Next to me in a YCS, a player summoned Magician, then revealed Shark to, summon it. That's what you do. You reveal Shark to summon it. Now, you do say, I activate Shark, here's my Shark. But he just was like, reveal. His opponent then activates Max C, which every time your opponent special summons, you draw a card. So that shuts them down. They don't want you to be drawing a bunch of cards. So they'll stop. They will summon the Shark, they'll draw 1 with Max C, but they're not going to activate the Magician because they don't want you to draw 2, and they probably won't exceed because then they'll draw 3. It gets out of hand. Well, the Shark player with the Shark said, I'm not summoning Shark, I was just showing you my card. The Max C player says, oh, okay, and didn't even call a judge. So you tell me in the comments, was that cool or not cool? Concept deck. Here's a deck concept. Lots. We got Wielder, Tracker, 30 cards, all my cheeses. Hopefully not going to play this with 30 cards, but very cool. Adding some tuners to the deck, adding Wielder to the deck to give you an out to Sun Saga. I feel that's good because inherently the deck is not going to out Sun Saga. So after playtesting, my thoughts are you could easily summon a rank 3, 4, or 5 into anything, but until we get better generic exceeds, the deck will lean on its back row or Wielder. Wielder's pretty cool. Now, question of the day, we already talked about this. It's not going to deal with Sun Saga, so you're going to want back row, or, looking at this, we got the Fiendish Chain, Canadia, Floodgate. We can make a Brionic. So that's going to help deal with a card like Sun Saga. Highlight, replay. Summon a monster from the deck. Shark summons itself in the hand. So we summon a Magician. We activate Shark. We special summon Shark. Magician activates. And we'll special summon. We could special summon a Wind Up Rabbit. Okay? Wind Up Rabbit can target a Wind Up you control, banish it until your next standby. So the Wind Up Magician says can only be used while face up on the field once. Well, I'm going to activate the effect of Rabbit. I'm going to banish the Magician. It's no longer on the field. Now, Shark's level 4, Rabbit is level 3. Let's make the Shark level 3. And then let's Exceed into our Zenmaity. Now, Zenmaity can detach. Could detach and then special summon from the deck. We could special summon a Wind Up Rat. Wind Up Rat can then activate to special summon the Rabbit back on the field, and then we could Exceed. And basically in the TCG, you have 4 to 5 monster slots. So you would summon another Rat, and then you'd summon again. But you can't do that here. And also, it was broken with another card. So we will detach, could detach, and then summon from the deck. Probably don't want to do this. Instead, we would probably just make a Zen Maidens, and that's it. Zen Maidens, and we're happy. And then on their turn, the Magician comes back. So not too crazy. Generic Exceed review. We are trying to build up our toolbox of generic Exceeds. Right now, all of the Exceed decks would greatly benefit off of just the generic Exceed toolbox growing. Now, what's good? Let's talk about it. This is our first ever rank 5 Exceed. You will, once per turn, detach a material to target 2 set cards on the field, then destroy them. Very nice. You can destroy your own set cards because it's not up to 2. There must be 2. If they only have 1 set, you're going to have to destroy one of your own set if you want to take out their set. So, if we're going to destroy our own set, maybe we can get creative. We can destroy Wild Tornado, which will then destroy a face-up card. We can destroy Gear Town, summon an Ancient Gear Reactor. We can destroy our Cybernetic Overflow to search for a Cyber Dragon Spell or Trap. A cool combo right here. What is that combo? Let's check it out. Combo. Now, as our only rank 5 Exceed decks that could summon this could be Thunder Dragon, Onomat, Gagaga, and or Cyber Dragon. You could use Dre to make itself another monster, level 5. So Dre plus the Veer makes the 5. And then you could pop your own Overflow to search for a fusion. That could be pretty cool. On to the Leviair Sea Dragon. This will be 2 level 3s. It will yoink, special summon a banished level 4 or lower from your opponent's banish pile or yours. So you could be funny and karma cut their monster, then you could steal it. Otherwise, what decks can abuse this card in Duel Links? Crystons can make it, but do they have room to play it? Maybe not. Trimids will have room to play it. Will it be that big of a deal in Trimids? Well, they got the Pulse to banish their own monsters, so maybe that could be pretty good. And Witchcrafter, you could put 2 Pators together to summon your banished Shmeta back on the fields. Maybe. I don't know. Witchcrafter extra deck. We'll see how tight that is. And the TCG was abused by summoning Archfiend. Why don't we do that ourselves? We can try. We'll see. So you have the Archfiend banished, then resummon, and you could just get Lupin. Black Ship of Corn. Now, this got nerfed, but it's okay. We'll talk about the nerf. The nerf is that instead of dealing 1,000 damage, it will just deal 500, but we mostly use it for the main effect. Now, I said this will definitely be top tier someday. Not right away. So if you want to have the mindset or strategy of only pulling on the box during a sale, then if the sale ends, you didn't get the card, then wait till the next sale, whatever you want to do. But I do think this will be top tier one day. What does it do? 2 level 4s to make it. And once per turn, you will detach to send, not destroy a monster with an attack less than or equal to this one, so 2100, to the grave, deal 500. Now, Zenmaines, we haven't talked about that yet, but Zenmaines is protected from destruction, and this will send it to the graveyard. That's great. Petalfin, it is protected from destruction, so you'll send it to the grave. Winda only activates when destroyed. You'll send it to the grave, not destroy it. Madame, if you could get Madame to negate one of your cards, then you make the Corn to then send the Madame. That could be pretty cool. You can try to make it under Kaliga without using a monster effect, then send the Kaliga. Now, cool ideas with the Black Ship Corn. We want to boost up the attack since it can only send a monster with an attack equal to or lower. Why don't we boost up our attack or reduce their attack so we have more options with the Corn? Well, why boost? We could then send an Amatrix, which it won't activate. If we can get to 3,500 attack, oh my, we want to send Sun Saga. Remember the question of the day? If we could send Sun Saga, we are happy. Send Burrito at 2,000 attack. So what are our boosts? Get Baboost with Backup Rider, 3,600. Boom, send the Sun Saga. We could Forbidden Lance to reduce their monster by 800. Then it's basically if they're 2,900 or lower, then with the Lance, you will be able to send it to the graveyard. Palace of the Elemental Lords will boost up your Black Ship of Corn per different attribute in the grave. The Element Sabers could change their attribute, so you'll get boosted to have more options. So with the Lance plus 3 attributes in the grave, you get to send the Sun Saga. Otherwise, you need 7 attributes. Good luck with that. Now, Concentrating Current, boost up, then send the Sun Saga. Now, you can't attack the turn you activate the effect of the Black Corn with your Black Corn, so you'll boost and just send Sun Saga. That's it. Now, the best use is going to be with Megalith Thaleg. Thaleg is going to super boost up your fields. We're going to replay Megalith again with this. I can't wait. And it's just going to be the best way because Megalith could summon it and this very easily. Boost, send anything. Yes. You could also use Ryoko, free to play. Reduce them, boost you, then send them. Now let's talk about Zenmaines again. This will be top tier someday. And even if it will be top tier someday, maybe we'll see some competitive use with it today. If destroyed, first of all, to make it, it is 2 level 3s, 2,100 defense, 1,500 attack. If destroyed, you will detach a material instead. And if you detach to protect itself, during the end phase, you will destroy anything on the field. So you can make it, swing in, then pop a card in the field. Maybe you want to take out that Necro Valley. Or just sit on it in defense, then they're afraid to attack into it because you're going to pop one of their cards in the end phase. If they set a newly set card, pop it, they can't respond. Decks/combos to make Zenmaines. Tracker and Wielder, if you have a level 3 on the field, you could special summon them onto the fields, and you don't have to worry about tuner, non-tuner, just boom. Exceed Shokan. Cristrons could possibly make Zenmaines. Do we have room for it? Maybe. And if you don't use the effect of destroying a face-up card to summon a tuner from the deck, only then can you make Zenmaines, because otherwise you're restricted to machine-type synchros only. Now, Evil Eye is going to love Zenmaines. Now, let's talk about a cool play with this. So here is the sample turn 1 play, and it's all because of the Kata Bowl Pass. That's exactly how you say this card. What this card does is while in the graveyard, you could special summon it onto the field, and then you're going to rank 3 exceed with the level 3 monster. That's not going to be Medusa, it's going to be the other. So if we walk through this combo, the field spell will search the other level 3 monster. So the Basilius will summon from the hand as a special summon, and the Katab will summon from the grave. And then you're going to use both of them to make the Zenmaines. So if we just walk through this, you special summon, it does its thing. We're going to discard it with the effect of Gorgon, which was sent to the grave through the effect of Basilius, to then search our deck for the Evil Eye Defeat, which will return up to 2 cards in the field back to the hand. That is nuts. And it will return up to 2 monsters, that is. The Selene will make the Medusa untargetable, indestructible. Watch my latest Evil Eye video. We'll play it again, though. Loving it. Then you're going to activate the Katab to summon onto the field because you control Evil Eyes, making the Zenmaines, and then holy moly. Untargetable, indestructible, banished from the grave, great against Shiranui, return up to 2 monsters, you're protected from destruction, and you could swing in to destroy a card in the field. Wowzer. Diamond Dire Wolf will be top tier someday. Its effect, after summoning it with 2 level 4 monsters, any 2 level 4s, it is basically like Scrap Dragon. What do you know about Scrap Dragon? It could pop a card you control and a card your opponent controls, including itself. Well, the Diamond Direwolf is a bit more restricted. It can pop itself just like a Scrap Dragon to pop any card in the fields, but it must pop a Beast, Beast Warrior, or a Wing Beast. So only because it's a Beast is why it could pop itself. So you can't pop your own back row, then pop another card. It would make it a lot better. Unfortunately, not as good as Scrap Dragon, smaller and more restrictive, but that's a good way to use it. So what are good Beast, Beast Warriors, and Wing Beasts to use with the Direwolf? Well, we are thinking some decks we could use it with are going to be Fire Kings, Blackwings, Lunalight, Infernity, Evil Eye. Fire King, Blackwing, Lunalight, those are Beast, Beast Warrior, or Wing Beast, so you don't have to pop itself. What else is good? Satellar Knight will like this. They could pop Necro Valley, then use Altair afterward. So it gives it basically an inherent out to Necro Valley instead of get scooping. And, you know, the Deltaros was also a way, but it's much harder to summon a Deltaros than the Wolfie. And the Wolfie popping itself will make room so you could then summon Deltaros afterward. And you're just adding it to your toolbox. You want your toolbox to deal with anything. Right now, the Exceed toolbox is we can negate attacks, we could be protected from destruction, we can destroy cards on the field. What our toolbox is missing is an out to Sun Saga, so hopefully in the future, we talked about this earlier in the previous video or in this video, depending on what version that this is, on ways to deal with Sun Saga in the future, hopefully the near future. Now, we are going on a quick little Exceed rant. I usually don't rant, but my main problem with most of our Exceed decks is they all depend too much on the generic Exceed toolbox. Konami needs to give us an Exceed deck that does not rely on the toolbox, but instead has its own Exceeds that only that deck can use, that just generically can deal with lots of things like back row, monster, indestructible monsters. Similarly to how Blackwings and Shiranui, they have their own synchros. They don't rely on a generic synchro toolbox. So because we are so dependent on the generic Exceed toolbox, and Konami is slowly dripping the good generic Exceeds, it's greatly holding back all the Exceed decks we have now. I hate to keep saying this, but all of these Exceed decks in the future are going to be much better. And that's a big problem. So if Konami is going to slowly release the toolbox, they could at least give us Exceed decks that work similarly to Blackwings or Shiranui as we wait. That's my main problem with the generic Exceed toolbox, the dependence all of our Exceed decks have on them. Let's talk about UR and SR cards. Marauding Captain, this card is 19 years old. So 99% of all of you watching, this card is older than you. Rank 3 Exceed very easily with this. As you summon it, then you could special summon a level 4 or lower from the hand, special summon a level 3. Boom, you got an Exceed. And we got Exceed Veil. This will make your Exceeds, including your opponents, untargetable. Well, the problem is your opponent can chain to this card effect. So if you want to not be targeted, they will just chain to you making yourself untargetable by targeting you. And you cannot chain this to being targeted. You're still being targeted. You're not going to negate the effect of being targeted. And that is the full review. I should be streaming right now on twitch.tv/DuelLinksMeta. We are having a tournament with this new box. We're gonna have another mini tournament after that tournament. I'm also gonna be dueling with the new box. It's gonna be great. Please, let me know in the comments, what decks do you want me to focus on? Should I focus on Windups or Girja? I'm not even sure what I should be focusing on as the first big deck. Heraldic Beast. You let me know. Let's go.